Come on, bro. You got this, man. I do this every day. You started it? Hello, everybody. This is your host, Cam. Once again with Camcast. Thank you again for tuning in to today's episode. Today is going to be a promising one. Today we're going to talk about a topic that actually deals with a word that's becoming quite popular, I guess, in the hip-hop culture. Instead, we're not really going to discuss the hip-hop terminology of what it means. We're more so going to talk about just what it means. Actually, this might be on the flip side of that. It could mean the same thing. However, so today we're going to get into it about pressure. Got my little trusty mic here. Mic up, mic up. But yeah, today, see, got the all black attire on. Three-piece, well, I guess technically two-piece, the tee, but yep. Black socks, black shoes. I actually found myself more interested nowadays, for some reason, in black dress shoes. Could be a growth thing. I don't know in particular. It just, sometimes when you're really thinking about all the different types of shades of brown dress shoes or tan dress shoes, you know, all the different colors associated with that, it can become a little tricky as opposed to sometimes just going with the black ones. And yeah, y'all just might want to give those, you know, a fruitful thought as well. So it's actually in this video that I watched on social media that this person's boss actually entered, and well, he had on, like I say, like a more of like, I wouldn't say a dark blue, but like a blue-ish, navy-ish type of suit and some black dress shoes. Would have been a surprise maybe a while back, but with the fact that I've seen it most recently, it wasn't really much of a surprise, as it could be considered a power shoe too. Black is a powerful color, so I would suggest keep that in mind. But so today we're gonna get into pressure, or pressure, however y'all like to say that word. Anyway, so pressure is a word, or basically a concept, that I've been juggling around a lot lately, and for like the past, I'd say, month or so, as in understanding, I guess you would say, different roles that, you know, just we may come across or run across throughout our days, you know, just being, you know, awake on earth or whatever. And something that just kind of dawned on me was just honestly how people see pressure, or how the human mind sees pressure. And well, there was actually something else that I meant to actually throw out there, but when I remember that, it'll come right back about that. Those are bars too. But anyway, to continue, basically what I'm saying is that with pressure is kind of like, we might see these forms of people that come across as arrogant. Of course, that's probably the most common form. We might also consider them jerks, or just, you know, people in that realm, even narcissists, of course. These are people that probably deal with a lot of pressure that most people who, of course, who are not alike them, or not like-minded as them, will probably consider them as that, because, well, they're the ones that are facing pressure somehow, whether that be mentally, emotionally, physically, and that's just kind of how that is. So these people might come off as a bit of that, because they might have been through a few levels in life where they may just feel misunderstood, possibly. So, well, some people are kind of raised on a certain platform to where basically, you know, you may not see those tugs, those mental tugs, or those, mental weights or mental strains that they might be dealing with to do better and achieve better and to go further and to do all these great things. So, therefore, the common person may view that in a certain format, whereas they see it as, oh, well, it's just a misunderstanding. So they may come across as these different types of personality traits, basically. Some of them you may even find that they're not even that. Then again, they could be truly exactly that, but you got to give them a chance. Learn to try to understand what it is that you may not understand. Kind of the point of basically most of my videos, in other words. Culture, if anyone remembers that. But without further ado, so basically it's about that. Pressure is kind of basically facing most things that this can be scientifically and spiritually. Pressure is kind of facing a lot of things that most people don't exactly face. And the thing about it is, I feel that basically pressure is basically what would you say, a thermometer or a measure of the amount of pain in which you might be facing, whether that be physically, emotionally, or mentally. So, I mean, you can look at that with clothes, you can look at that with jobs. Honestly, in some situations, some people, when it comes to dealing with pressure, some people may not really understand exactly about, sometimes a person's intentions may not meet or may exceed or overlook someone else's impressions, because sometimes some people tend to, for those of you who are able to face pressure or might be able to do things that most other people either just don't want to do or can't do, sometimes this will cause a bit of impression. People get impressed by this. To some people, they're shooting for that. How they might say dress for the job that you want to have, or dress for success, or things like that. Well, to some people, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a psychologist or a therapist or psychiatrist. I couldn't remember the other word, but these are just some things that I've studied over and kind of came across and had a few conversations with a few people, kind of got some of their insight. And basically what I'm saying is that, well, even in some of my personal experiences, that's also what I've come across, is that some people might get impressed by some things that I may do that I'm not necessarily fishing for an audience. And even if I am, it's either subconscious or unconscious, which are kind of related, because it might be something deep down that is not at the surface, or maybe it's an undiscovered intention, if you will. And unconsciously just means that you're just being you. However, somebody else may be picking up on that and maybe saying, oh, okay, well, hey, they might even be looking for a decent role for you to play, honestly, if they feel that maybe, especially when you come across, kind of going back to what I was saying about being misunderstood, sometimes you could be doing that in a role or in a position where, of course, if you're feeling misunderstood, it could be messing with your confidence just on a slight. And you're thinking, okay, well, this is who I am. This is what I like to do. This is, when I'll enter the weight room, and I go to the bench press bar. Of course, I'm sure most of you know what that is if you've lifted weights. If you don't, basically it's something that you lay down and you just have a bar over you, and you kind of bring it over you like that, and you just, it could work the core, works the chest, and works the arms. And basically with that is, you'll say, okay, well, most people probably want to go to maybe the 45s, start with that, while you're headed straight forward to put 3 plates on there. As in, with the 45s is about, I forgot how much it is. I think it depends on the weight of the bar, but that could be like 135 pounds, I believe. Whereas some people might go straight to 225, 275 or even 315. So while you're around in an area where most people are willing, they want to lift this, your focus and intention is to go and lift that. But you're not there technically to just, maybe outshine everybody else doing that. Your intention could just be to better yourself. Well, sometimes some people might be saying, well, hey, why not get introduced to something else that could probably suit your talents more or suit your potential? They may see a particular potential in you. A lot of people tend to avoid that, kind of take that away. They may not want to, based off maybe their role models or this or that. And it's understandable, Not everything is for everybody, There's, it's kind of like a hierarchy in a society. There's a time and place for everything. Everybody, has a place where it is that they belong. And some people may find their places faster than others, sooner than others, easier than others. So normally, when you're talking about people that enjoy a lot of pressure or whatever, even if they don't even realize that they enjoy a lot of pressure, well, their place or role, if it's not difficult to discover and figure out where it is, then it might be a little bit more difficult in order to get there. But all in all, nothing about it is easy. And honestly, like they say, nothing worth having in life is easy. So you can agree to disagree with that if you want. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I believe that's kind of really, that's the gist of it. It's just, pressure, basically. Do any of you have any thoughts of what your definitions of pressure are? Technically, sometimes in some situations, pressure is not really necessarily an easy thing to deal with. So some people, everybody tends to have a different type of level of pressure instilled into them, and they may handle those pressures a little differently. But the one thing that I actually found interesting was that it's interesting how a lot of us, especially like when you're dealing with, a lot of people may talk about traveling and seeing the world and things of that nature. And sometimes a little bit of pressure might be involved in that. But the thing that I found interesting was that, well, why is it that it seems that you don't have a problem? Some people may not have a problem going all around the world to see something like this that they've never seen before. They're willing to pay a lot of money or pay this to go see it, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're investing in your experiences, in your mind, technically. But the thing about it is, why all of a sudden is it an issue when something new or a different experience that you've never seen before comes to your doorstep? No, you probably did not invite them there. That is true. However, this is something different. Everybody has different ways of basically, exploring and seeing the world. So I just find it interesting. If that's you, it's not really a problem. It's just consider the next time that you might want to, I don't know, I wouldn't even consider this playful bothering. The next time you think about saying, well, this and that person, are doing something that I'm not used to, so therefore I'm gonna have a certain response or reaction to it. Okay, well, maybe we should tell the people at the country that you plan on visiting next year, maybe they should treat you the same way. Because you're probably bringing customs and a particular personality and a mindset over to their place that they're not used to. That's the point of you going to a foreign place, correct? So, if you think about it, sometimes you can be foreign to your own land. I think we kind of know what I mean when I say that. Sometimes you may be treated that way. Sometimes maybe everybody could be treated that way. in one way or another. Some just aren't willing to admit it. They just rather do this instead of that. But it all falls underneath the line of pressure, basically. It's a big thing. It's a huge strain. And like I said, some people are not really able to handle certain types of pressures that others can. And like I said, it's okay. Everybody's not built the same way. Everybody's not built to lift the same type of iron. Everybody's not built to be on this platform or that platform. Everybody can't be everywhere. You have people in all spectrums. All I'm simply saying is that I think that just take the time out to actually get a chance to respect each of the spectrums. So, and I think that sometimes whenever you find yourself not being able to do that and find it in you, it becomes a sense of adolescence, because you may not know how to express being able to process seeing something that you're not used to. And because you can't exactly maturely do that, you wind up kind of doing it in another way. But think about it like this. So when it's done to you, you have something to reflect on. You can reflect back on your behavior, because guess what? Your behavior, you're going to face it again. So keep that in mind too. But, so I just found those as interesting, fruitful thoughts to consider. And, I mean, like I said, pressure is something that is something today, of course, that is a bit more rare than, a lot, as in finding people to be able to handle and face pressure, face front, or whatever you want to call it, is probably a little bit more difficult than what it might have been back in the day. Sometimes, of course, pressure also comes with a discipline behind it. So if you consider yourself a very disciplined person, you're probably one that basically might handle pressure a little easier than those who may not really consider themselves very disciplined, because it takes discipline. Discipline is honestly pressure in itself too. So consider it that. I mean, PD or DP. I like PD better, but I mean, yeah, so. Well, I mean, I hope you all, so. Just gonna give y'all a second to kind of marinate with that, kind of take that in, chew on it a little bit, and honestly, I'm thinking about a few of those things too. So pressure also has a lot to do with consistency. It deals with a lot of those things, and persons like myself face basically pressure every single day. But when you have certain people that we might even consider up until a certain age, I guess you would say innocent, pressure might be something, a bit of pain that some people, they're just already numb to. They might be born or raised numb to a certain pain that other people might just see nothing but. And it's a lot more difficult for them to honestly step into that pain than it is for those who have basically been raised above it. So let's just all love each other, basically. And this isn't a video of dissing anyone. It's just basically kind of just explaining and expressing, the concept of pressure, and how pressure kind of does, have a lot to do with. So, I mean, for instance, I actually remember when I was in school, and I wanted to play a certain position at a higher level. I was actually asked and made sure that, hey, okay, you have experience and you participated and played that same position here, correct? And, well, I said yes. I mean, because I did, but what I didn't realize was, well, Why are you asking me that about the experience part? That's because of the pressure that comes with it. They want to make sure that you're used to it and you've been there before, because it's only going to increase. An increase in pressure is something that you have to be prepared for. So, pressure preparation, if you will. But with all that being said, I hope this might have given y'all some insight on some people that you might have certain dealings with, or even me, or even yourself. And I hope this helps some people out. And I will see you all next time on Camcast. And this is your host, Cam, signing out. Have a great night, everybody. And thank you all once again for tuning in. And please tune in to our next episode.